we go. We are live. The microphone's on. Microphone check. How you guys doing? Oh, yes, I know. I could do podcasting all day, you guys, but trying to make a living and doing what needs to get done, it sucks up a lot of time. In addition, I'm releasing 6 movies throughout this whole year. So, I'm not even gonna lie, it's pretty rocky. But you gotta keep moving forward. You gotta keep doing what needs to be done, because in the last 6 years I took on a big endeavor. 6-7 years I took on a big endeavor to make something out of myself, make something out of my work as a filmmaker, and even my skill level as a tech person, and I've done so much websites, and I built a lot of apps. I done a lot of graphics. I done a lot of my portfolio is pretty powerful. And in the midst of doing all this stuff, it's time for me to kind of present myself out there and my work, because it's where my passion and my heart and my soul and really the great talent that is in it. And podcasting, I've done podcasting for, I would to be realistic, I would say almost about 20 years, I could say. You know what I mean? I done podcasting. I used to do podcasts and just put little audio clips onto my website, my .com website, and then additional to that, if you go even on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or SoundCloud, if you look up Individual Perspective, and it's another podcast I did with a great family friend of mine, and I call him my brother. His name was Khalil Biddle. He passed, and we did a podcast through the pandemic called Life, Choice, Health, and Wealth. So if you look up those 2 podcasts, it's Individual Perspective and Life, Choice, Health, and Wealth. Individual Perspective Podcast and Life, Choice, Health, and Wealth Podcast. If you look at those podcasts, you will see that we did some work, like 2015, 2016, 2017, 2020. We did some work. The podcasting credibility is there. Yes, I didn't come from corporate with hundreds of thousands of dollars, then go into podcasting world, and that would allow for me to go non-stop instead of kind of making a living and then coming back to it when I could kind of have the free time to do it. So it's been a little rocky, but we about to get through it. A lot of big work been done to kind of solidify what we're going to be doing. Got to get it into the pace of it. And so I will say by the middle of this year, it will be nothing that will stop us from doing day-to-day podcasting. But from now until then, we got to keep our head on the swivel and take care of what needs to be done and what needs to be taken care of. And since I'm doing this myself and in my personal life, I have to somewhat keep a roof over my head and really kind of stay somewhat afloat, because I gotta do my editing and all the presentations of my films and uploading and doing all the crazy rendering and stuff like that. And it's, it takes money to make money, guys. It takes money to make money. So even doing this podcast to keep us consistent and hardcore steady on it, I need you guys to show some love. Put $1, $2 into the Venmo and the PayPal link at the bottom in the description area if you can. And at the least, please like, follow, and subscribe to the video. Okay? So I'll say it again. Please, at the least, if you come across these videos, I see that a lot of people do watch a lot of the little shorts that I put up and stuff. But if you watch our podcast, hit the like, hit the follow, and the subscribe button. We need the engagement. In addition to that, if you can spare $1, $2, $5, put it into the PayPal, into the Venmo. It will help unimaginably well if you do that for us, okay? So, before I could go into a detailed analyzation of the Constitution of the United States of America, before I can go to a deep analysis of the Constitution of the United States of America, I'll say that again. Before I can do a deep analysis of the Constitution of America, I need you guys to understand just pure human interaction over the last 2,000 to 10,000 years. I wear this MAGA hat not to troll you guys or make you guys not want to watch me or say, oh, he's Uncle Tom, or, you know, he's a Trump supporter, he's a racist, lovers, supporter, whatever the crazy rhetoric that you guys say about everybody that wears a Make America Great hat. The truth of the matter is, the sad part about the last 12 to 15 years is the best American civilization that we have is Donald J. Trump. Why? Because you may hate him because his playing the game and him being able to kind of economically make a fortune doing it, but low income people and regular minimum wage or middle class citizens, you're an ant in the making of Donald Trump. Meaning that he ain't make his money off of you. You know what I mean? His clients heavily is not low income people or middle class people. His clients and the people that he squeezed money out of to give his company success are high middle class to rich people. So people that's making $250,000 to multi-millions of dollars, even billionaires. That's his range of who he's making his money off of. Anybody in the Trump organization that's under $250,000, they're great lifelong employees that he poured hundreds of thousands of dollars into them. I'm pretty sure he put a lot of people's family into college and helped them buy their first house and all that stuff because how long he employed all the people that work for him. I think he got about 60,000 employees. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, and I'm probably lowballing it, you know, but could you imagine giving economic value to people for 40 years of your life, where you are the one that's doing something in your life that you're giving enough revenue, giving enough economic standing to a dishwasher, a caddy, a housekeeper, a cook, a chef, a doorman, an accounting, lawyers, whatever. For 40 years that you put their kids through college because you gave a stable salary and economic value to that employee. So it's like, it's not a comparison. You know, you have almost 250 years of congressmen and senators and presidents and employees in the government. And if you put all the senators, all the congressmen, all the presidents together, economically, what they have achieved in their own private business before they became into politics and everything like that, plus what they made through their years of being politicians, and then when they went to become lobbyists afterwards, if you put every dime that they made all together, senators, congressmen, presidents, they all haven't achieved economically what Donald Trump and the Trump organization has achieved. So when you think it's okay because he likes to keep his language and he likes to communicate in layman terms and in pretty much plain speak, you like to call him a dummy or a fool or an idiot and all the other stuff. Look at how insignificant you are, and your mama, your daddy, your grandparents, your siblings, your cousins, your friends, in comparison to him. This is a logical conversation I'm having here. You gotta reevaluate emotional communication to logical communication. Individual Perspective Podcast is a podcast where my slogan is, when your truth is the objective truth. Individual Perspective Podcast is when your truth is the objective truth. And what do I mean by that? You don't let your mother communicate something, your father communicate something, your brothers communicate something, your sisters, your community, your society, your favorite politician, your favorite philosophical speaker, your mentors, your favorite musicians, your favorite movie stars. You never allow anyone's idea to communicate to you and you don't vet it. You vet to see if this is just a fictional story or if it has validity in life and it's got factual data to back it up. And that way, when you communicate to someone else and outwardly, exterior yourself, you're standing up to true objective and having a detailed objectivity structure built to communicate that whatever comes out of your mouth, whatever comes out of your heart, whatever emotes from you or you advocate, it'll stand up to the test of time for decades to come. That's what Individual Perspective Podcast is. And so when I talk about making sure you do a detailed analysis on yourself and your surroundings and your intellect and your ability and what you are and what's comprehensible before you actually communicate something in emotions. Okay? So I say this because as I look at the last 12 to 15 years and how much recklessly Trump put his life and his company and his family's well-being on the line to make America great again. A lot of people say, when was America ever great? And what do you mean make America great again? Well, you want to go back to the 50s? Well, you want to go back to the 20s? What do you want to go back to the 30s? What do you want to go back to the 1800s? What do you want to go back to the 1700s? What do you want to go back to the 1900s? What do you want to do? When was America great? If you know Trump and you know the life of Trump, if his in the slogan of Make America Great Again, it's an 80s thing. It's an 80s mindset. You get what I'm saying? So the most accurate presentation of Make America Great Again is when money was moving around like crazy in the 80s. You know what I mean? It was so crazy that people became rich off of Wall Street. people became straight, like you always hear about the Black Wall Street and all that stuff that happened in that time. You get what I'm saying? All the Foremans and General Motors and all that stuff became black. Like a lot of black automotive industry people, they start moving into the suburbs and everything. And so if you're gonna go do a detailed analysis, absolutely it was crack and drugs like brought into our city, into our country, and put into our inner cities by the CIA and all that stuff like that. We can talk about that in the nitty gritty of things, but it was because it was so much money in America moving around. Like it was exchanging hands. It was so much money. So in that endeavor, he's not saying that the 80s was good. He was just saying that economically we were very rich. You get what I'm saying? We were very rich in where in the 80s you start to see that we start giving away our richness because we have so much wealth. We start giving it to China. We start giving it to South America, exporting our business and exporting our wealth and stuff. We start giving it to Canada, making Canada more stronger, because while American citizens was going through the AIDS epidemic and the cocaine and crack epidemic because we had too much money, too much luxury, too much like frivolous ideological life and living, the actual country government actually start exporting our wealth to bring upper mobility to other countries and everything like that. So this is what his reference is about, like the power of having it. You get what I'm saying? Like now we don't even have it. We're about $18 trillion away from being where we can't even borrow money. You know what I'm saying? The dollar would be irrelevant. You know what I mean? So I always say that it's like the value of the dollar is about 3 times the amount of our debt right now. So if we get to about $120 trillion in debt, that's when America's destroyed. It's nothing. Like we can't even purchase stuff to each other because it'd be like a war. For everybody will be in poverty. Majority of the country would be in poverty. So they're saying it's even tighter than that. It is $18 trillion more. So if we get $18 trillion more, then we're in trouble, and we're doing like $2 trillion over debt every year. So add that up. So you're doing about 6 years. No, I'm sorry. About 9 years of us going the same exact way, we will be destroyed. America economically will be destroyed. That's what they're saying. I'm telling you, the true economical standing of America, like the things that they don't talk about, that's in the treasury, that's in the understanding of the dollar and everything, I think we're about $120 trillion. If we were to go $120 trillion in debt, that'll be the destruction of America. That's what my own personal research is saying. And I go over this in other podcasts and stuff like this. You can check it out over on Rumble and over here and stuff. So I got a lot of hundreds of hours of podcasts. So please check it out. Hit the like, follow, and subscribe. Okay, but going back to the Make America Great Again hat, I do feel like if I could say somebody fought for our freedoms, and what I mean by that, not what me and you agree upon or what we want was best for our family members, kids, like nieces, nephews, grandkids, whatever, like siblings, not what we want for us all. What's your constitutional rights? individually. What is your constitutional right? And I think our government, our politicians, our teachers, even American citizens decided, effectively, collectively decided in 2008, going heavily into 2012, that we did not like how much freedom American citizens have. We really didn't agree with the Constitution. That's what we found out. So from 2012 to 2025, that's the fight we're having right now. It's been that fight. That's what the fight we've been in. So, I wanted to come on and do an episode where I would go through the Constitution, and I kind of shame us on how stupid and foolish we are. You know what I mean? Your safety is not a guarantee unless you give yourself safety. You are responsible for your own safety. We have decided to look at police departments as some kind of prison guard to us. You know what I mean? Police car pulls up right next to you. You shuffle yourself. You make sure you got your seatbelt on. You make sure that you look straight and you don't even look at them and say hi or anything like that, because our psychosis, and even the police department did this. They have put it in where they're managing us. They're controlling us so we won't feel free. And the truth of the matter is, the police department is your private security. The FBI is your private detectives. These are people like your private companies, like the purpose of the FBI is not to do espionage or organized crime and all this other stuff. They can do that, and it's okay for them to do that, and trying to keep law and order and trying to make sure that no one's rights is infringed on another person's rights by criminal activity, that you're doing a crime that may infringe on someone else's rights. That's what their number one mandate is. The number one purpose for the FBI is to guarantee that every single citizen's rights are not infringed on. So there's special police, a special investigation team to guarantee if you're being prosecuted, if you're being, like your rights are being taken from you or being disenfranchised on you, that the government investigation team comes in to communicate and investigate how your rights were infringed on. Do you look at the FBI like that? No. Black people are so dumb, and I gotta say this about my own people. You guys, well, I'll say we're so dumb that we're disenfranchised the most, and we allow our black senators and our black congressmen to go to Washington, sit down with the government of Washington, pass a bill, Section 81, if I'm not mistaken. Would you pass the bill that lets the FBI walk up to you, ask you random questions, and if you lie or miscommunicate the truth, they can actually charge you up to 5 years because you lied to them. So that infringes on your Fourth Amendment right, search and seizure, and your Fifth Amendment right to criminalize yourself. So we allow black senators and congressmen to go to Washington to put a law in a statute in the books into law that allows a police law enforcement officer to walk up to you in the FBI, the law enforcement entity to walk up to you, question you, and based on your memorization, based on how you communicated it, based on if you were trying to preserve your own life or innocence or freedom, and you miscommunicate or you tell a lie or you say something, they put black senators and black congressmen voted for this to help to put laws in place for you to get your Fourth and Fifth Amendment infringed on. And then the Supreme Court advocated, which the Supreme Court is supposed to say, hey, that statute is illegal because the Constitution and your constitutional rights of your Fourth, Fifth Amendment rights says that to preserve oneself, if you don't got evidence on me, if you don't do your own investigation, I'm not supposed to be the one that communicated or my lack of innocence or whatever the situation is, or whatever that could harm me and take away my freedoms. I'm not supposed to be the one to communicate that to you because you asked me a question and I'm subject to tell the truth or to criminalize myself. I'm saying this for one, to give you guys an example in just that situation and how that situation all over our country. We have statutes. Statutes are laws. We have laws that are rewritten 5, 10, 100 different ways, and it's the same law, but they put into law as different laws and different statutes in order. And so we got thousands of laws and statutes, and we already had them on the books. But they reiterated because they feel like it's a different way to say it in 2025, 2000, the 1990s, or something like that. So they made these new laws to say something they already said. That's why when you look at the Constitution and the first 12 amendments were written there, when we went to that 11th Amendment or 12th or 13th Amendment, we needed to make sure that that what was in the original is already there, and that we were not duplicating something or putting in a constitution that's destroying a previous constitution that's highly valuable for an individual. So it's okay to put new amendments in, like the 13th, the 14th, the 5th Amendment in to better communicate the myth of 3/4 of a human and all the other stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? So if you want to make sure that that's clear, if you feel like slaves or if foreigners were or communicated as 3/4 of a human being in the Constitution, and you wanted to give more clarity to that, you brought the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendment into play because the proclamation, the emancipation of the proclamation was signed into law to free the slaves. You needed to put the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment in. I totally understand that. But when we go to the 16th, when we go to all the way to the 27th Amendment, we got to make sure those amendments are not destroying the foundation of the Constitution. And then the statutes that are applied to us under law and order and law enforcement statutes and laws are making sure that they follow the 27th Amendments in the Constitution and make sure that it doesn't infringe or conflict with them. So in that situation, that's why I'm talking about this Make America Great Again hat, because if you see the things, if you really was watching the last 12 to 15 years, and let's say the last 10 let's say that last 8 to 12 years, to be a little bit more accurate, last 8 to 12 years, and the crazy stuff that happened to people just because they put on the Make America Great Again hat. I was going to walk around and have a Make America Great Again hat on in the last 8 to 12 years, and I voted for Trump every step of the way. I wanted Marco Rubio to be president in 2015, 2016 primaries and stuff until Trump came down. In 2015, I was thinking of Marco Rubio. 2014 to 2015, I was thinking Marco Rubio was, I want him to be the president. And then when Trump came down the escalator, he gave that speech in Trump Tower. I said, oh my God, that's our president. I said, man, I'm sorry, Marco. That's our president right there. You're relevant. And after this man do what he got to do. Everything he was saying was accurate. It was logical. It was blunt. And it was the time that we needed communication. And that's why we still need that communication, because they always trying to stop the message. They're trying to stop the communications, trying to stop the will of what he's bringing to the table. And it's like, nah, man, you got to let this man do his thing, because he's going to actually give that individuality back to the American citizens. But everybody, if they're offended by something, if they don't like what somebody says, they don't like the brassness or the bluntness of something, they decide to destroy it and mute it. You know what I mean? I was listening to a podcast last night while I was working, and they were on the panel. They were debating what Kanye West was saying over the last few years with his rhetoric and stuff like that. And I think, yes, I agree that it's very reckless and very pretty much destructive to his overall success, his clothing line, his music, and all this other stuff like that. But he has the right to communicate whatever the hell he want. Whatever the hell he want. And before we start to say, oh, we don't like what Kanye West is saying, you fight for his right to say it. Under no circumstances. We all agree we don't agree with stuff that Kanye West said or any other person in this country saying wild rhetoric and offensive rhetoric or racist rhetoric or whatever. We all kind of common sense don't agree with these people or have a same mindset. We are our own individual. But you never, ever take away one citizen. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's a Ku Klux Klan member. You don't take away an American citizen's right to communicate what the hell they want. So we decided to destroy our own rights for our safety, to what we perceive that's giving us safety. And your safetiness is supposed to be supplied by you. You have the utmost, ultimate freedom to guarantee your safety. You don't like what happens in schools and stuff like that? Well, have respect for your children and your kids and the kids at school and college. Have respect to them how y'all respect a movie star's kids, a musician's kids, a politician kids. Have respect for your kids like you respect them. It's okay, and you don't even second guess the protection of a celebrity's kids or a politician's kids or a powerful entity's kids. Have some respect for your kids like that. If they that valuable to you, you protect them like you protect all the stuff that's valuable to you. And it's a fault of individual citizens that they don't look at their safety this way, that they secondarily give it to law enforcement or some other entity that only can help you after the fact. When stuff popped off, that's when they could probably come in and hopefully you in the midst of what they saved. Stupid, foolish. It's totally against your freedoms and your rights and your individual power. So I say this all because as I go through this, and this is going to be a two-parter, so I'm going to talk to you about the mindset of our freedoms and the different things that we all are going through and how we should look at it all. And then we're going to go and it's an actual YouTube channel. It's called Feekwix, Feqwix, Feqwix, Feekwix. And they kind of read out the Constitution and stuff, so we're going to be going through it with that. And I'm just going to give my commentary about it. And we're going to have that for the rest of our lives. People will be able to come look back at this podcast when I'm dead and gone, and be able to kind of have some kind of entertaining but communicative way of listening to the Constitution and having commentary about it. And I would like to thank Feekwix, Feqwix, and their YouTube channel. I would like to thank them for doing this for me. It helped me a lot, helping me be able to do this podcast a little bit fluid without me reading it and then doing it. You get what I'm saying? So I like to thank them. So my point of it being is, even me in my life, I went out to make a name for myself in the film industry locally in Michigan, Detroit, Michigan. I told myself I would never make a movie in Michigan because I don't trust the mindset of people that's in Michigan to make good movies and do it. But I told myself I do have the talent and the expertise and the high IQ ability to help people and help productions and help filmmakers present their stuff to the highest standard, even in constrained financial situations. You know what I mean? So I told myself I'll go out and provide a service to give better quality, better products of presentations of film to the audience via the inner circles and the local filmmakers. And I was going to do that. But the egos of the filmmakers in Michigan and how much their egos get in the way of making a great movie. It was so self-destructive that the first year where I gave my whole, because literally I was working a 9 to 5. I'm always the provider. I'm always the person that help people out, have the funds and money to help people out if they need help or anything. I lived decades like this, and I decided to give all that up and go through a little hard times because I'm a great, phenomenal filmmaker, but I couldn't be corporate in filmmaking. One had to give, and I couldn't. Trust me, and I tried. I couldn't do both because doing something big, it's going to take everything you got. So you need to decide what you're going to put your heart and your soul and your time and your power and your highest ability into. And I felt, I did my 20, 30 years of, growing up, getting a job, helping pay bills, having a job, paying for the bills and all the other stuff like that. I did that. So I told myself, I got to at least give myself 10 years because I would hate to be on my deathbed and I would be looking and dying and I would say, man, I didn't even take none of those 10 years of living, all the different decades of living. I didn't even take one of those 10 years and give my passion, my love, give my work, my true work, everything I got. So I decided I was going to do that, but I wasn't going to be self-indulgent about it, making my own films and stuff. I was going to go out and help people and help them make good products. But boy, first year, it was so aggressive. It was so like watching people sabotage their own films because of their ego. I said, man, you know how fast you can get through a good movie and knock out scenes and stuff like that. So I decided, write a movie. And I went out and shot it. And even in that first endeavor, because the actors wasn't so used to, like, you know, shooting a movie in the woods, they wanted to do the woods locally, like in the parks or something. I'm like, no, we got the traffic and the roads and stuff like that. It became hard to even kind of do a side, like, exterior of the forest, because you got cars driving by and it's like too city. It just didn't feel right, so I moved it into the woods, and it put pressure on them because they really had to do the work of a real actor in the real environment, making real cinema, you know. So in that endeavor, I even seen, like, even that going out there to film that movie, it was hardcore, you know. It's a movie. This movie I worked on literally. I've been working on for 4 years to get this movie the way I really want it to be. Not because it's like we're so dumb and we don't know how to make a movie and it takes us 4 years. No, because everything that Hollywood would have done under the guise of under the constraint that I had, can I do as much of what Hollywood would have done to this movie with multi-millions of dollars and big studios and graphic designers and editors and all this stuff? Can I do what they would have done as close as possible? If I can't get 100% of what Warner Brothers or Paramount or Lionsgate or Disney would have done, can I get 80% of their ability and put it and do it, shoot it? The shots, the special effects, the music, the sound, the visuals. Can I get 80% of how a multi-billion-dollar company will present this movie? And it took me about 4 years to get this thing done the way that I wanted to. And when in the midst of those 4 years, I decided, you know, through the process, I'm going to make other movies. You know what I mean? Everybody wanted me to release my movies and stuff. Even after I got through filming it, they wanted me to go into the editing for 2 to 3 months and release it. But I told myself, I'm treating these movies as if this is the only time I'm be able to shoot this movie. Because obviously, everybody around me, they call themselves executive producers or investors, but they really don't got no money. They just got the title. They don't really got no money. You know what I mean? A movie, I hand in a budget for a movie costs $84,000, which I'm saving them hundreds and millions of dollars, because the average movie in Hollywood, it starts at $3 to $30 million. So if I'm doing a movie and I'm really presenting it and shooting it, and we're kind of doing 2,000, 6,000, 15,000, 30,000, and that's the best. I think the you know, that's the best that you're gonna get from people, because they're not real producers, they're not real investors, meaning that they make money in their own lives and their own endeavors and their own businesses, and they allocate a certain amount of their funds a year to invest. That's a true investor. You know what I'm saying? Where the money you spend on making movies, it ain't got nothing to do with your livelihood. It ain't got nothing to do with your come up. It ain't got nothing to do with your equity, your economical growth, your house, your living, your vacations, you buying another car, buying a boat, whatever. It has nothing to do with this. Is extra funds that you can outsource to somebody else's ideas, and you can make a little bit extra money in the longevity of time from that person fighting whatever they're fighting for, to give your dollars that you put into it more value. That's how this world works, y'all. And in the midst of me making this movie, I find out how, you know, you have to protect the individual, because my intention is to make sure we all good and successful, and that we get to the fastest and the most high probable, not possible, high probable achievement. And the only way you're going to get there is to know what move you make is leading to something. It's leading to this destination. It's leading to this end results. This is the end results that it needs to look like. So whatever we got to do from the start to get there, that cannot be suppressed. We have to get to that. Why? Because it's a high probable outcome of success if we don't try to cheat it. You try to cut corners, you try to take away something that's part of the equation, you destroy what you're building. What's the end results? It's not the end results in because you took out too many pieces of it. You took out too much elements of what was the original concept, what was the original goal, what was the original endeavor, what was the original build, what was the original model. So in that situation, that's why in the last 6 years, I achieved a lot. I made 6 movies. Truthfully, I made about 10. Some of them I did for other people to kind of get them, help them out with editing their movie or filming and shooting and editing their movie and stuff and helping them kind of get through the process and stuff like that. Whatever it was to help them out with the vision that they had. But the 6 that I'm talking about that I focus on are my babies. I put my heart and I put my attention into it, and I put very interesting situations. I'm not taking them because I'm telling you, even the crappiest movie coming out of Detroit, which I always tell people, I've watched a couple movies by Hollywood high elite directors and filmmakers in Hollywood that's making movies for $200 million and up. I watched them make a movie with an iPhone and kill everything that I've seen come out of Detroit in the last 15 years. And the people in Detroit, they're shooting with the same cameras that they shoot Avengers with. The production's high. The production is really good. The locations they got are awesome. It's just the execution of how they present it and how they do the work is so terrible. So I seen real good filmmakers in Hollywood beat every single movie in Detroit with an iPhone. Real stuff. I can break this down to you. And then I always tell people in Detroit that it's sad because our ego's getting away and we hate each other so much in Detroit that we won't utilize the information that's here and that's around us because we don't want to give another person clout or value over what we think our value is and stuff. So, we want to lead. Well, we want to be the boss. We want to have our roles, but you're really bad at that role. You know what I mean? You're really bad at being a producer. You're really bad at being an executive producer. You're really bad at being an assistant or whatever. And whatever we're really bad at being an actor. You really do. And we all improve on what we do. Even at being a director, you can improve what you're doing if you leave objectivity in the analysis of what you're doing. That way, when you see something that you didn't do just as good as this person, you equate what they did into the next thing you do, into the next move you make. That way, what you didn't know or what you didn't apply or what you thought was all right not to do and you thought to skip on, you don't do it no more because you see the end results of what they did that improved them and that would have improved what you had on the table if you had did it. You got to analyze yourself enough to give yourself constructive criticism under pressure. You got to be able to criticize yourself to make you better. But they don't do that in Detroit. That's why I didn't want to do a film here. So in the midst of me doing all these movies, I was able to get them done because I fought for them. I would give up all my income. Every income that I had that I could have took from the top, I gave up all of it just to get the movies done. Why? Because I own them. At the least, if you don't have enough money to pay me my fee and pay me my salary and pay me to buy me out and stuff. If you don't got enough movie that, just let's do as much as possible to get the movie done. And then we'll talk on the back end when you could kind of go back to work, do what you're doing, and you could come to the table a little bit better with some economical, better value. But until then, I own the movie. I wrote it, my equipment, everything. I shot, recorded, everything. I directed it. I filmed it. I edited it. It's all mine. And I don't want to own everything, but you got to come to the table with better economical value and be able to negotiate with me in order for me to just give you pieces of movies for nothing. And I lost everything. I lost my economical stable position to get the movies accomplished. But that's what freedom is. You gotta fight for you. You gotta fight for your individuality. You gotta fight for your goals, for your way of life, for what you feel that's yours. That's what your individuality is. And in the midst of all this stuff we do, work and do all this stuff that we do, don't ever give up your individuality. That's the purpose of me talking about this. Even just put my situation into play, because when you think in the collective, you could destroy everything. So at the least, for me, I always went into everything as I must protect the film. Because by protecting the film, I protect me and my purpose and my point and what I'm trying to achieve. Why? Because every single thing that came out of every single one of these people's mouth, it was not for a bigger outcome or a more high probable outcome. It was fantasy. It was momentarily. It was emotional. They didn't really have anything solid to say, when we make this movie, it's going to end up here. Why? Because the numbers of all the movies in this situation or in the streaming platform world is giving us at the lowest margins this outcome. And if we're coming in way under that margin in the budget, in the making of it, then at least we, even at the worst case scenario, we got 100% value out of it. And if it makes more, then we in the 200s and 1,000% value of it. It's easier for us to go multiple value than like we shot a movie for $3 million, but we can't get it to the box office. Nah. Do it for a margin that you did a phenomenal, really good work, but you can easily get independently double, triple, quadruple, 10 times the value of what you pay for it. That's what I do. So I say this all because in the midst of all this, I lost a lot of people. I lost some people that were very close. I was close to. I wanted a life relationship with them. And I lost it because destruction of oneself, it only has a value if who you doing it for and the cause you're doing it for is respected and honored. If it's not, if the idealism of it, because a lot of people think, oh, I put $15,000 in, but dude, it costs $180,000 to get that movie done. You get what I'm saying? So if I take your 15 grand out, it cost me $165,000 to get this movie done. Me, I had to figure that out. I don't want to hear anything. It's ridiculous. It's not even a comparison. And you purchase a percentage for that little money. That's all that you owe to. You get what I'm saying? The movie, the making of the movie, the making sure that the movie is what it should be. I got to take that upon myself because people are scared of their own shadow. So what they like today, they'll be scared of tomorrow. And I can't do that. Otherwise, the movie won't exist. If I give up and the contractor says, hey, everything happens and, it's all a risk and, you know what I mean? And hopefully it works all out. That's what the contract says. That's what you signed on the dotted line. You know what I mean? But if it doesn't work out, so be it. That's what it says. But for me, that's not enough. I want more. I want success. I want the movie. And when everybody left and they walked away, I said, nope, we're going to knock this thing out. We're going to get this thing completed. It's going to be because it's a great movie. It's a great idea. It's very out of the box. And if you shoot it right, when you look back at it, you're going to be like, oh, man, that's a beautiful movie. And I was editing on this movie, putting special effects and stuff in it. As we're doing the finalization of special effects and sound and everything, I was watching it and I said, oh, my God, this movie looks beautiful. It looks beautiful because in the moment of filming it, I said, no, we got to use this lens. I needed to look like this. You got to come into your blocking like this. You got to come stop right there and do it like this. You got to express it like this. And it lived up to today and it's so beautiful. It's going to be a great movie and I can't wait to share all these movies with you guys because I did have to take time to make sure that I presented it, gave a clarity to my mind to be able to say, that's how that should be said. That's how that should be communicated. That's how that should sound. That's how that should look. And making a movie with one movie, it will break you. It will break you without hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars and having about 100 people working on it with you. If you don't got that, it's been people that had that and it almost broke them. So me, I don't have 5% of that. So without that, I'm taking a big risk on myself. You get what I'm saying? But I feel like it was worth it. It was absolutely worth it. And I'm glad to see the work live up to today when it's got to be presented to the people. And freedom and individualism gives you that. Okay? I always tell you that we all got to realize how much we hurt each other in our endeavors, in our growth. We have a level up culture that just speaks, that just got rhetoric. Level up, get more money, get out there and get that money, but they blah, 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 blah. And it's easy when you have a foundation that can help you in your mindset. I always say the Individual Perspective Podcast is a dark podcast. My podcast is not for the faint at heart because if you do get it, when you do understand it, you understand that your mama led you wrong, your daddy led you wrong, your siblings led you wrong, your community led you wrong, your politicians, your society culture has led you wrong, and it hurts you, and you're so captivated into all that you know that you won't throw it away. And Individual Perspectives tells you if you ever truly want to be an individual, you have to throw away everything. Everything. And how do you throw it away? You look at something, you remember a memory, you hear a voice, you hear conversations that you had with your family and your friends and your community, and you watched in society and all that stuff. You look at that stuff and you vet it. You vet it for accuracy, for objectivity, for objective analysis. You vet it and say, is that right? Does that make sense? If that goes against this, it goes against this. They call it the Socratic method, Socrates' way of thinking. Okay? You can't even graduate Harvard unless you you show a fine-tuned presentation of your ability to have Socratic method communication and interaction or processes. Okay? And I say that's what every single human being, every single individual should do in their life. Don't pay attention to your mama. Vet what she says, vet what she does. And what she does that's got truth and objective and power to it, you take it. And whatever it doesn't, you throw it away. Same thing with your father. Same thing with your heroes and your mentors and your movie stars and your celebrities and your musicians and the politicians and your presidents and philosophical speakers. You do the same thing. Take in what they're saying, evaluate the factual truthfulness and the substantialness of it, and whatever doesn't have it, what doesn't have no meaning to it and no value to it, you throw it the fuck away. Excuse my language, but you throw it away. That's what Individual Perspective Podcast is, okay? That's what I'm doing this for. So I'm showing you, even in my long conversation about my movie experience and interaction, I even had to go through this myself, I did it to my family and friends and everybody a long time ago. You know what I mean? In 1996 in August, and I'll say early 1997. So 1996 in August up to like January or something in 2007 was the last time I allowed exterior people to drive my car, meaning my car of life, to take the steering wheel of my own car and drive it. Okay? And in that journey, it's been only reapplied and re-emphasized that I made a right decision in 1996. And I should always apply that thought process to everything. And I did that, and that's what got me to the success I have now. And though my real success comes once you guys watch these films and enjoy them and everything like that, but I wouldn't be able to get to where I'm at now if I didn't take on that knowledge in 1996, take on that behavior and that thought process in 1996. And through my experiences with rich people, poor people, 9-to-5ers, entrepreneurs, the high intellect to the low intellect, to all various of people, black, white, Asians, everybody, my mindset and my evolution and my process of individualism and individual perspective has been vetted and proven to be a great mindset. And I doubled down on it even more on December 2024. Actually, December 30th, 2024. I doubled down on it on December 30th, 2024. And I told myself, every moment, every minute that I move forward from midnight 20. I'm sorry. Gotta say this again. See, too much stuff going on in my head. I'm trying to collect how I want to say it to you guys. So that's why you'll see me pause like that. But I decided December 30th, 2024, how I move forward is make sure that everything makes sense and is purposeful and is substantial. And if it's not, I need to communicate that and I need to live it. Not have it in my head, have it as a self-reflection or a self-analyzation or something I feel that needs to be communicated, but my knowledge is me communicating it to myself. No, you have to communicate with others. No matter if it burns a bridge, no matter if it cuts you off, no matter if it ends relationships, you gotta go through life your way with your purpose. and not in fake interaction or fake relationships. Because even when things don't go your way or things not working out between the relationships, why lie and have the same results of if you felt like you're going to get repercussions for speaking out? So individuality is everything, you guys. I need you guys to understand that. I see this all the time. For example, I watch successful people, and I'll play with the fine-tuned group of them. People that make $250,000, $500,000, and $1 million. That's where I'll stay at. I won't even talk about the multimillionaires and the billionaires, but the people that make $250,000, that's $250,000, $500,000, that's $500,000, and $1 million. So the people that makes within that group, that price range, that economical standing, that salary, that economical growth a year, they got to pay taxes, okay? But there's a tax code that allows for them to help other entrepreneurs, people with ideas that they want to flourish the ideas, and the ideas can get into a market where they can capitalize off the idea. You get what I'm saying? So they got tax codes where instead of giving the government the money at the end of tax season or whatever you have, you could give it to a person that's trying to grow something, a business, a small business, an idea, even if it's a painter that wants to paint an artwork and then sell that artwork for a certain amount. You can actually invest it in there, write it off as investment in low income businesses or minority businesses or some crazy stuff like that. You can actually contribute to a more universal leveling up with money you're going to give to taxes anyway. It's not like you're going to keep the money, like you're going to keep it's only so much tax codes you can write that you claim your kids, you claim your house, you claim your this, you claim that, and you're still giving up a good 10 to 20% of your income, even if you pay the tax code really high, but you still could keep 10% into businesses or investments into other people's idealism of an idea that they want to level up on. Even if it's a crappy idea that may not be fruitful. I'm not saying invest in something bad, but you don't know it's a crappy idea until it's a crappy idea, okay? But even things that are not like high performance outcome, you can invest enough in it where the low outcome of it is a more of a probable gain than it's a destruction. But at the same time, it doesn't matter to you because you can write it off as a tax incentive for low income investment or minority investment or some other. It's a tax code for it, for investing in other people's businesses, for helping low income people, for charitable givings and stuff like this. Come on, y'all. I shouldn't have to try to find a way to communicate this to you where you won't feel like it's money grabbing. You guys got to know this. So why do these people $250,000 to $1 million? Because they're more accessible and interactive with some of the people that they can actually help out and help grow people more than a low income person or multi-millionaire billionaire. So why don't these people take the money that they cannot give to IRS through a tax code and just give it to a small business or a low minority idea or invention or a small business or a minority business or something like that? Why not do that with not the money that you living off of that you need for you, that you can save for you through tax codes, but money that you're going to give to the government anyway because this tax code you didn't use to give it to some low income person or low income businesses or low minority businesses or something. Why not do that? Because it's our culture over the last 40, 50 years to suppress people, to hover over people and say, I'm successful, you're not. We put so much money into keeping people down than lifting people up. Having a conversation, looking at a business plan, interacting with people, see what their ideas is, see if this makes sense, see if they can articulate what they trying to do in their growth period, and see if it's something that you want to throw the money you got to get in taxes anyway, throw it to them. And then write it off as a tax, get a tax code incentive to low minority charitable givings or low minority investment in small businesses or something like that. It's so many ways to do this, but it's our culture to hover over each other. It's almost like for the last 40 years and 50 years of us going into more feminism ways and giving thanks to our strong, hardworking mothers, that we built a society that puts us back in the king monarch situations where we're dominated by the rich people. And they're taking away the ability to have homes, buy homes, because only rich people could buy the homes. You get what I'm saying? So it's certain ways that our society is moving that the high 1% elites are the ones that have the access of everything. You're just renting it from them. You're just hoping that they give you some seed into it. Sad. But this is what we did to our society. And I'm telling you guys, a lot of I'll say 90% of all the interactions in commerce and barter trade and human development and relationships and all this stuff is only about 40 to 50 years old. It's about 2 to 10,000 years of human interaction that we threw away in the last 40 to 50 years to this new idealism of human interaction. And because we did that, we don't even know how to communicate to each other and say, hey, okay, y'all have 40, 50 years of doing it this way. It ain't working. It's not working. We need to sit down. We need to reevaluate how we need to interact. What's on my mind? What's on your mind? That's a bad idea. Nope, this is a good idea. And we have to be able to evaluate it objectively in order to know how to move forward in a more prosperous and in a more probable outcome for the majority of humans. But I think that even America is 250 years old, effective of next year, and I think like we want to throw away 150 years of that, of how the smartest ideas of structure of how human beings should interact, and Homo sapiens should interact with each other in America. We want to throw that away for the idealism of the last 40 and 50 years. It's ridiculous. And it ain't working. It's making a terrible society. Okay? So I'm going to end it like that, and we're going to get to the second part where we're going to go in details over the Constitution, okay? So this is just me kind of communicating to you guys that you have to fight for your individuality to even understand the value of the Constitution. You have to fight for your individuality before you can understand the U.S. Constitution. There's no way you can understand your true freedoms. Because your freedoms the true freedoms don't guarantee other people to guarantee your safety. You guarantee your safety with your ability to utilize your individual freedoms from the U.S. Constitution. That's how that works, y'all. You don't like that, you go to Norway, you go to England, you go to all the other countries, go to Uganda, go to Haiti, go to Congo. See how it is when people rule over your ability. So I hope in my philosophical speaking of my world and film and everything, and me communicating the idealism of the Constitution and everything, I hope that you guys get the point of this. You know, maybe I don't have the coolest voice and everything, but I'm a podcaster. That's what I do. So, you know, I think I'm doing it pretty decent. So if you guys can, get ready. We're about to go through the Constitution. We're going to go through it. It's about an hour and 6-minute presentation. And I'm, you know, obviously I'm going to be stopping and talking to you guys throughout the situation. So, but it makes it entertaining for families and people to sit down for decades to come and listen to it. Because I'm always looking for some kind of Constitution reading that's entertaining to me. So that's what I'm going to give to you guys. But we're going to look at it. We're going to put it as a objective, honest, blunt conversation as we go along and read the Constitution and evaluate it and everything like that. So that's what's going to happen in part 2. And I label it America Hates Their Constitutional Freedoms because all the reporting, all the communication that's been going on since 2008, 2012, you get what I'm saying, 2016, 2020, into now, showed me that Americans hate their constitutional freedoms. They think it should be limited. They think they got too much freedoms. Or specific people or people in general have too much freedoms in America. And in order for us to have our safety be guaranteed by the system, we have to take freedom away from everybody and limit the freedoms of every citizen in order to guarantee our safety. But it's not safety over freedom. It's freedom over safety. You guarantee your own freedoms. You have the ability with your freedoms, with your absolute freedoms, to guarantee your own safety. But if your safety, and if safety is the mandate, it doesn't guarantee you freedom. It takes away freedom. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't give you freedom and keep you safe. It takes away freedom because it must restrict your ability in order to guarantee a function. Like, you can't function like that. We don't want you to be able to do that. So the way we got to do that and stop you from being able to do that, we got to take that ability away from you. So freedom over safety, y'all. This is Individual Perspective Podcast. I'm your host, Daris D. McKinney, and I'll see you on part 2. Check you out. Hey, and don't forget, when you see this video, guys, like, follow, subscribe. We need the hits in the algorithm. Okay, we need it to communicate in the algorithm. Like, follow, subscribe. And just for the God's sakes, go down to the description area under the video. Click on the Venmo, click on the PayPal, give up $1, $2, $5. Come on, y'all. I can't do this by myself. I need your help to make this podcast big. We got to have panels and all kind of stuff. Come on. Don't be cheap. $1, $2, $5. Venmo, PayPal. I'll put another pay system on there soon. Okay? Thanks. This is Individual Perspective Podcast. I'm your host, Daris D. McKinney, and we will see you in the next part 2 of America Hates Their Constitutional Freedom, where we go over the Constitution and we give our own rhetoric about it. Okay? Check you guys out.